All right, guys, welcome back. It's another one of a Glendemonium podcast. I'm your host, Glenn, and now today I'm going to talk about the last day of E3. I think it's the last day of E3. Nintendo's press conference. Now, once again, I was at work, unfortunately, when all this went down. However, I just spent the last couple hours going through all the trailers that they show, or at least the ones that are relevant to my interest. But I think I've managed to get every announcement down. There's surprisingly lack of indies this year. Usually they've been pretty gung ho about getting indies front and center. Maybe after the program they did with the Wii U, maybe they're just kind of a little leery about it. Especially when you had a game like Meme Run. Oh my goodness, that was quite a game, wasn't it? Anyway, guess I'll start. They announced a Kirby game. I don't think I see a trailer for this. Oh, there's a Kirby game. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, figures. I'm surprised they actually came out with a Kirby game. They haven't come out with a Kirby game in a while. Oh my god, how many years has it been? Ah, man, I don't have time to look it up right now, but it's actually nice. Let's see what else. Sorry, I'm just kind of zinging through the trailer real quick. Was this for the Switch? Yep, it's for the Switch. All right, okay. Yeah, Kirby has always been one of those games that's like introduces beginners into video games. Although Mario could probably do the same thing, but I don't think there's ever been a really bad game. I've actually played the Kirby games back on the original Game Boy. I think I had the second one, the one where you get to ride the fish and then the giant raccoon. And it was one of those. I remember taking it with me to school, and then of course you have the insecure dudes who are like, "You're playing a game for babies, man. What's wrong with you?" But no, it looks like a solid game. There was another game they announced, the Yoshi game. I like Yoshi's Island, the one on Super Nintendo where you had the baby Mario on your back. But then they released Yoshi's Story, and I remember being really disappointed in that game. It was like crazy short. And I felt like I was playing a game meant for really young kids. I mean, I was going through that insecure 20-something phase. Was I in my 20s? Maybe I was in my late teens. I don't remember. It's been years. I never really played a Yoshi game since. I never played Woolly World. I feel like, you play too many platformers and you get burnt out. I think like the Yoshi games are fun in its own right, and it's got its own unique aesthetic. But the sad thing is, this new Yoshi game reminds me so much of Little Big Planet, which is kind of depressing when you consider where Media Molecule is. Those are the creators of Little Big Planet. Basically, this new Yoshi game looks like they just took the formula from Little Big Planet and slapped Yoshi and Shy Guys on there. And people are going to buy it. I'm not going to lie. People are going to buy it. They're going to enjoy it. It's probably going to sell a lot of copies, which is the same. And, my opinion on Little Big Planet is selling a game like that on a PlayStation, it's very hit or miss. Like most PlayStation gamers, I'm not saying all of them. I'm not trying to stereotype gamers, but I've noticed that a lot of people who buy the big consoles, your Xbox and your PlayStation, like cute platformers, don't always do as well. So that's why they had something like Knack look like something, it's something that like people might want to play. They try to stay away from cutesy graphics. Yet Crash Bandicoot gets a freaking pass. But that's Crash Bandicoot, PlayStation's original mascot. How about that? Let's see. They announced a remake of the Mario Luigi Superstar Saga and Bowser's Minions. I guess it's like it's a full-on 3D remake of the sprite-based RPG from like back in the Game Boy Advance. I actually played the first one. That was the one that spawned that meme. I have Fury from Fawful. I thought it was a fun game. It was an interesting mechanic. I had to get over the fact that they're never going to make a Mario RPG that basically looked that Square collaboration, the original Super Mario RPG. And it's fine because Mario and Luigi, it's a good RPG game in its own right. You have to get used to the time mechanics, but other than that, it's a pretty fun, solid series. Especially this one. I'm actually and I think it's on a 3DS, so which is a shame. I was kind of expecting this to be on a Switch. Like this would be one of the good Switch titles to get, but they decided to go on 3DS, and that's fine. You know, they want to extend the shelf life of the 3DS just a little bit longer. Although I thought I read a rumor the other day that I think they ceased production of the Nintendo 3DS in Japan. I need to find a confirmation on that. But I think they stopped production. But usually Nintendo likes to trickle a game here and there just to kind of extend the life of it. Um, let's see, another game. Oh, this one took a lot of people by surprise. So do you remember there was a fan remake of Metroid 2: Return of Samus? Metroid 2 was originally on the Game Boy, like way back in the 90s, and it was an okay game. It was definitely a Metroid game. It played a little different from its predecessor. Well, anyway, it got hit with a cease and desist. I think it was only like 3-4 months ago. Well, now they actually showed gameplay footage of a remake of this game. Nintendo actually made a remake. It's fully in 3D. It kind of looks like Other M, and I really, really, really hope to God they don't make this into another Other M because Nintendo. You mean they botched it up with the Federation Force. You know, people weren't too happy with that game, and you know, I don't think they can afford to make any slip ups with this one. And I understand from a business standpoint they wanted to do something different with Metroid, but when people really complain, you got to give what the fans want. It's a remake. You know, the fans are gonna be happy. You know, and I never understood his business practice, and this is not a dig at Nintendo. You know, they do what they want to do. They want to try new things. They want to experiment. That's great. But you know, at some point, you might say, okay, let's go back to what actually worked, and then just put 3D graphics in it and awesome music. And I think this is going to be a seller. Now, the downside, it's not really a downside, but that is also for the 3DS. Okay. Part of me is thinking, why? This would have been a pretty good killer app for the Switch. Maybe I'm just thinking in terms of newness. I really wish they would have considered a Switch version. However, the next, excuse me, sorry, I had a little bubble in my throat. I had to burp out. I apologize. However, they did show an announcement trailer for Metroid Prime 4. Now, I'm going to admit this. I never played a Metroid Prime game. Like I said, I'm not going to say anything to do some gamer credibility, but it's true. I was mostly a PlayStation gamer. I stayed away from game. I think I had a GameCube, but I only played Smash, and that was it. It was basically a Smash Brothers console. I never played a Metroid Prime. When I had the Wii, I had an opportunity, but I sold it. I sold my Wii, so I never got the. It was before they announced the collection. I never got the collection. I really wish, I would have waited a little bit. I would have got a collection because Metroid Prime basically reinvigorated the Metroid series, turning it into a first-person shooter. And I remember like reading it in like gaming magazines. I mean, this when it first was announced, and people were like, "No, you're turning Metroid into first-person shooter. No, Metroid isn't Call of Duty." Rawr! People were getting upset. But then it turned out to be a pretty solid game. I was actually impressed. And Retro Studios actually put in a lot of work into breathing life back to the series, and it has a strong cult following. So seeing that title card trailer got a lot of fans excited. I'm happy. I'm happy for them. I'd like to see if they can release the collection from the Wii to the Switch. And I know I keep saying, hopefully one day, I'll make enough money. Maybe I'll get this job at the college, and I'll be able to actually afford a Switch. Buy one for myself on Black Friday. Well, I know my birthday's coming up here next month, but I'm going to be realistic. I'll wait till this job is stable. Maybe Black Friday, I'll go pick a Switch up, and then because I guess I'm gonna go into a little bit of history with me and Nintendo. Nothing bad. It's actually Nintendo has basically been one of my favorite companies growing up as a kid. I mean, you probably heard this a million times before by a bunch of Gen X and early millennial gamers like myself. I'm born in 1980. I got introduced to Nintendo in like 1988, 1989, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to be a game designer since I was a kid. Even though there was like no real avenue aside from like DigiPen back in the '90s, like the only real avenue you had to be a game developer was to go to DigiPen, and DigiPen was like crazy expensive, and it was in Washington, and you had to basically have really good grades in high school to get into DigiPen. Well, I mean, it's different now. There's like all sorts of schools doing game design programs, which you might want to be careful of because, yeah, I'm going to get into that in another video. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, it was a solid company. I mean, I enjoyed the NES, SNES. Like, I'm the kind of guy that like you if you knew what you're getting your money's worth. Like you had Mario, you had your Zelda. You knew you're getting quality titles, and then they had a lot of good third parties. Then the N64 came, and as much as I wanted to really support that system, it gave me my first look into that big Nintendo drought that they're kind of known for with some of their consoles. Like they'll release a game 1 month, and then of course you might get some third party titles. Some of it might be shovelware, and nobody really touches it. Maybe for a few people that just wanted to see what it was. But N64, like they had some great games. We had Mario 64, Ocarina of Time. Um, I played Mortal Kombat Trilogy on there. Doom was actually remade, not really remade, but they released Doom on there, and so like N64 was like really good for first person shooters. So I got to play Doom, Quake, Hexen, Turok. I know I'm missing something. Perfect Dark, GoldenEye. I mean, it had a strong lineup, but like I remember like waiting months for games to come out. Ended up getting a Dreamcast, which unfortunately I bought a used Dreamcast literally right a day before they announced that Sega was no longer supporting Dreamcast. Oh, there was a couple $100 down the drain, and then I ended up going towards the PlayStation because I wanted to try Final Fantasy and Castlevania and Mega Man because I missed all those series. Like they had a Castlevania game on the N64, but it was 3D and it wasn't very fun. It was okay, but it wasn't very fun. And like N64 action games back then were like giant 3D. I wouldn't say open world, but there wasn't a lot of stuff like explorative games. Like they tried to borrow from Ocarina of Time, but failed miserably. And then they released Mega Man Legends, but I was already knee deep into like PlayStation to really go back to Nintendo, and that's one of the big reasons why I skipped out on most of the GameCube in its entirety because I remember I was a stupid fanboy. I remember seeing Wind Waker and Mario Sunshine, and I just kind of sat there thinking, I don't want to play those games, or I don't like the cell shaded Wind Waker, which was a very stupid opinion because I actually played Wind Waker on the Wii U, and I fell in love with that game. It was such a fun game from start to finish. I would go home and just turn on my Wii U after a hard day at work and just sail around and collect stuff. And it's like, I cannot believe I missed out on this game. And now I wish I played Mario Sunshine. I played a little bit. I remember at a Walmart, you know how they used to have those game playing kiosks before some angry King Midnight decides to break the controller. Because, we have, like, this is why we couldn't have fun arcades here in Kingdom, because we always had those angry teens who think it's cool to break stuff. Angry kid. He's 17 years old, but he somehow managed to get cigarettes and a bottle of booze. He walks up to a World Combat machine and he breaks the joystick because he thinks he's cool. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry. Let me go back to the conference. Metroid Prime 4. Everyone's looking forward to it. And let's see. The Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is getting a DLC. I need to get my hands on a Switch soon so I can play this game. Because from what I understand, it's the biggest open world Zelda game I think ever made. Like it's full on exploration. Like Skyrim has got nothing on Breath of the Wild, and I think a lot of game companies, especially over in Japan, they're like looking at Breath of the Wild. They're like, okay, we're gonna make our next RPG similar to this because this is what people want, and that's freaking great. Maybe if I do more Nintendo videos, maybe I might get a free Switch. Maybe I could do like an unboxing video. That would be awesome. Nintendo, if you're somehow managed to, if you see this, well, hey, long time consumer, paying student loan debt, so I'm trying to be wise with my money. Nintendo Switch, right here. Okay, anyway, moving on. Sorry, Xenoblade Chronicles. No, no Xenoblade 2. Um, I guess I missed out on the first Xenoblade. I don't know why. I guess it didn't appeal to me. I haven't been playing JRPGs in a while because I got spoiled by Fallout and Skyrim and Saints Row and I don't know. I think it came out towards the end of the Wii U life or no the Wii's life cycle, and that's long after I sold it. So I never got to actually play it. But I watched a playthrough through. I think it was Chugga Conroy, and holy crap, that was an actual. This is basically like six Final Fantasies slapped together, and it was amazing. And I missed out on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. No, Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm messing these titles up. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water. My throat's getting a little dry. So I missed out on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. See, I did it again. Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then now we got Xenoblade 2. And now it's definitely, it's switched because I guess Xenoblade Chronicles X had like this 3D graphics with these weird looking character faces. And that was one where you can create your own character. But I guess one big complaint they said is that the story mode was kind of shallow. I mean, that's kind of the risk you run when you do create a character because, I mean, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, it was a fun game in its own right, but you were basically a silent protagonist, and the story felt a little shallow. And I know Xenoverse 2 is coming out on a Switch, and they say it runs pretty smooth. I missed out on it on the PlayStation 4, but if I end up getting a Switch and a lot of spending money, I might end up picking that up because I like a good Dragon Ball game, unless they release Dragon Ball Fighter Z on Switch. Then I'll probably just play that instead. Because honestly, they'd be crazy not to. Uh, but anyway, back to Xenoblade 2. It looks like they're using cell shaded because it's anime. I know there are some gamers out there who are not into the anime aesthetic. I mean, I don't really care. There are people who play the Tales series, the Persona series. I don't really play those. Don't have the time. Don't have the money for it. But I appreciate what it does for the industry because you got to breathe fresh life into a genre that was widely ignored for like the last 10 years. Remember like when PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were like king consoles? You hardly saw a lot of JRPGs aside from your Final Fantasy, but then Final Fantasy 13 was bad. And then Final Fantasy 14 had a flop in 1.0, but it's better now. And then we got Final Fantasy 15, but for some reason I cannot bring myself to get into Final Fantasy 15. It I don't know. I guess I've been craving like a good old fashioned crazy adventure where the storyline makes no sense. And I'd rather have the tropes come back. I mean, Xenoblade 2 had your typical waifu character because apparently gamers are into that now. Waifu culture is a big deal. Not my thing. I'm too old. If I started doing waifu stuff, I might as well just commit myself. I mean, I'm already a big red flag when it comes to gaming because apparently we're not supposed to game at a certain age. But screw that. Anyway, the protagonist is young guy, young boy, 16-year-old kid wants to save the world, and the antagonist is of course a foppish white-haired dude who talks all smooth. I kind of laughed at that because all right, there are more JRPG tropes, yes, but I think it's going to be a fun game. I don't know a whole lot about the Xenoblade lore aside from the Monado and Shulk and a few other things, but it's got critical acclaim, so I think it's going to be good. I think they pushed it back to next year, and that's fine. Give it more polish. I mean, it's a huge game. It's going to be a huge game. Let's see. I'm also. Let me make sure I covered everything here. Once again, I'm really surprised at the lack of indie games. It's a shame. Um, I'm wondering if like the indie outing for the Wii U kind of soured Nintendo's perception on indie games because like the guy who makes what's that game? Cosmic Star Hero Line that came out last month. I think that guy, like he's waiting to hear back from Nintendo. This guy has made some pretty solid indie games. I think Axiom Verge is coming to the Switch. I actually got it at PlayStation 4. I don't mind double dipping down that again. It was a really good game. Well, they announced a Pokemon RPG. I nice. I'd imagine they're going to do a solid actual Pokemon title. I imagine they're going to save that for next year because, like, right now, I got one more game to talk about, and it's probably going to take me 10 minutes to talk about it because, it's one of my favorite franchises of all the time. And that franchise is Super Mario. I'm 36-year-old guy, and you put a Mario game in front of me, I will probably sit there glued and play it for hours and hours. I'm the kind of guy who plays a Mario game. I have to hit every coin block. I like to stomp on things. I like to discover new ways of beating a level. And sometimes I die a lot because my reflexes aren't as good as it used to be. But I remember basically clearing New Super Mario Brothers U. Like I got everything, like all the stars. I literally completed the entire game. That's how dedicated I was. I almost did it to Super Mario 3D World, but I ended up selling my Wii U to. I kind of needed somebody to pay some fees, lawyer fees. I don't want to get into that. But I was pretty much done with the Wii U for the time being, which I regret selling because then Mario Maker came out, and I was like, crap, I wanted to play Mario Maker, but oh well. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. Holy crap. We thought Galaxy was a big game. I think this one is going to be a really good title to play. Not because it's just Mario, but the new stuff that they're doing to it. Like, one of the gimmicks they're showing is that Mario throws his hat like a boomerang, and it attaches to like an enemy or some object, and you kind of morph into an object, and you use it to traverse around like the map, or you use it to break some blocks or kill enemies or do some puzzles. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. They even showed a boss fight with one of those like weird rabbit-looking things, and I guess the story they didn't really go into detail at the treehouse hearing, but it looks like Bowser is planning to marry Princess Peach, and it showed like Bowser and Peach in like wedding attire. It even showed a quick little clip of Mario in wedding attire. So I don't know what the deal is that is. So maybe they're finally going to make it official. Mario and Peach will actually marry at the end of this game. Because he's been rescuing her butt for like the last 30 years. It's been 30 years. I think it's been about 30 years. I think maybe they should make it official. But see, what's cool about a lot of Mario games is they always do these cool throwbacks, especially for the fans who's been following the series since the original Donkey Kong, since the original Mario Brothers arcade game. Like a lot of those costumes you get in the game were actually based off of sprites from like Mario did a lot of cameo appearances back in his day. Like one had him in full-on safari outfit. And if I recall, the safari outfit was from Mario Picross. Let me see if I can find that picture. And of course, Kotaku's going to load really slowly because, that's Kotaku for you. Now I won't be able to find it. Oh yeah, they announced Rocket League for the Switch. That's awesome. Yeah, Rocket League is a pretty fun game. All right, let me see if I can find one more. Here we go. Okay, found it. So he has a safari outfit you get in the forest level, and it's a nod to the Mario Picross game. He also wears a sombrero and a poncho, and I don't remember where that sprite came from. I'm thinking Tetris. I'm thinking Tetris. He also has his NES Open costume, and Chef from, I think it was Yoshi's Cookie. I actually remember renting that game. I don't know, yeah, like I said, I've played almost every Mario game I could think of. Much to the detriment of my classmates who, video games weren't cool, they're for nerds. You know, I feel like I grew up in a stereotypical like '80s, '90s movies where like nerds were like these punching bags, and everyone hated nerds. They weren't cool. You know, I was living in a stereotype. Sometimes I still am because like, people are too conformist around here, man. I want to move to like Seattle. I want to move to a big city where like people want to play more video games. Like Pokemon wasn't a big deal when I was older, so we didn't play Pokemon because Pokemon wasn't cool. Pokemon came around the same time Power Rangers came out, and I didn't get the Power Rangers because I was too old. But then Pokemon Go came out, and all of a sudden, oh man, Pokemon is like, you never played a Pokemon game. You actually threw dirt at people who played Pokemon. But people grow up. That happens. But the Mario Odyssey, ooh, they finally showcased some levels. They went through New Donk City, and here's another fun fact I guess I learned earlier today is the girl that you saved in Donkey Kong. Her name's Pauline. She is now the mayor of that city. I think it's kind of funny. It's like Jerry Springer territory because like Mario's with Peach sort of, and like Pauline was his first main girlfriend, and but I don't I think it's not really that big of a deal because I know a lot of fandom out there. They're just always talk about stuff like this. Like, so what's the deal with Mario and Pauline? And what about Daisy? Because now Daisy's with Luigi, or at least that's what fans do when they pair people up. Like fandom is so weird. They see a man and a woman spend more than 2 seconds screen time, and they're like, "Yep, they're getting together." Some things never change. But I was really impressed with the gameplay, and it's coming out October. Usually a Mario game comes out around about Black Friday, before Christmas. They always try to get that holiday rush, but October is really solid because they've been working on this game for a while, and there's a lot of stuff you collect. I guess instead of collecting stars, you collect moons, and there's a lot more throwbacks. There was actually that rabbit from Mario 64 hopping around in the forest level, and you throw your hat at it to stun it, and then eventually you can catch it. It drops a moon. You collect the moon. But it's all. But I think they've actually made Mario open. This one's an open world game. It looks like it's from a mix of 3D World and Galaxy, but it's like full open world game. So like once you clear an objective, you can continue or leave the area. But I'd imagine they're going to do that formula where you have to collect enough moonshines or whatever to advance further in the game's story. Because I mean, most Mario games you usually gated like you needed 6 stars to get to the second floor, or 12 stars to the next floor, or like in this case, you collect so many moonshines, open up new worlds, and that's fine. You give players something to do. Overall, I think this has been a very, very good conference. And it's funny because a lot of people on the internet they're complaining about Microsoft and Sony had lackluster conferences, and to me, they did fine. They could have been worse. They weren't like, oh my gosh, awesome. All three conferences delivered games. So I guess people are saying that Nintendo, because they bought Metroid back from the dead after how many years of fans getting in their face and saying, "Bring back Samus! We want Samus!" And then they're finally giving you two Metroid games. Two. So I guess that's a good sign, And of course, we were expecting Mario Odyssey. Um, Now the big question is, what's Nintendo going to do next year? Because Zelda's going to be out, ARMS is going to be out, Splatoon is going to be out, Mario. So I guess next year we're going to cross our fingers to see gameplay of Metroid Prime 4. That's probably going to be the big hoopla. I don't know. I think Xenoblade 2 might be out before the next year's E3. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to plan out next. Because usually, I've noticed with a lot of Nintendo cycles is like you get your Mario, you get your Zelda, like the first year or two of the system's lifetime. Then after that, it's so up in the air what they're going to do. Maybe we might get a new Smash Brothers. Maybe there's rumor that they're going to port the Wii U Smash Brothers into the Switch, but I got a feeling that they're going to announce a brand new Smash Brothers. And that'd be great. But poor Masahiro Sakurai, dude, he's overworked. The Smash is his baby. He he's probably sweating bullets like, oh no, I gotta make another Smash game. Ah! Maybe Nintendo might collaborate with Square and make a Mario RPG, but We thought we weren't going to get a new Metroid game, and we got two. Hey, I'm not going to complain. Well, this podcast has gone on for a bit longer, 30 minutes. When it comes to Nintendo, I mean, I don't think I can keep my mouth shut. I actually enjoyed the conference. Well, at least the videos that I got from the conference. Um, One of these days, I'm gonna have to get a Switch, and I know I told my friends like, I'm not getting another console. I'm gonna stick with PlayStation 4. But like, dude, Switch. It's because on the go, man, on the go. I have a dream that one day I want to travel the country, maybe even the world, and you can't do that with a game console hooked up to a TV. Just have a laptop and a Nintendo Switch and a place to plug it in every few hours, and you're set. All right, guys. Thank you for if you actually sat through my rambling, I applaud you. Go get a cookie or a sandwich or a smoothie or something that you want to reward yourself for putting up with my nonsense rambling and going off on a tangent. I appreciate it. You have no idea how much that means to me. If you want to hear more of my crazy nasally voice, leave a like. Um, Subscribe, leave a comment. I like to read comments, even if it's negative comments, because I know it's the internet. That happens. And next podcast will not be video game related. I will say that I actually want to start talking about life topics, like college and jobs, or just talking about being a nerd, growing up as a nerd in a town full of Christian rednecks. No offense to Christian rednecks out there. I mean, but other than that, I will see you guys soon. Take care.